Usually, even if it's live streaming, it takes a little while. Oh, it's redirecting. Let's see.
Yeah, talk about social media. I remember when Facebook was originally launched. I think it was back in 2009, wasn't it?
I remember when Facebook, you had to like be in a university.
Right. Yeah, I was
It was before 2009, I think. Because I was still living in Boston when I first had my Facebook account. It was like not long after I'd graduated. I graduated in 2002. Like now you can do the math and figure out how old I am. But when they first launched it, it was like you had to be in a university. And wasn't like any university. They only let like a couple with like you could be at Harvard, you could be at MIT, it's where I was. And then like they started adding it's completely not at all now what it started as. Because I think if I recall, the original intention was it was supposed to be like the freshman Facebook.
right.
When you go to college and they just, put everybody's like whatever headshots in there so you can figure out who everyone is. I know at MIT because we were a little bit crazy. So we had this whole crazy rush system, not just for Greek life. It was also for the dorms. We had dorm rush. And people would be sitting there studying, like, who do we think we want from, who's like, the jocks at MIT, like who says they're into football? Okay, like someone, if you're from one of the football fraternities or something, then go find all the football kids and grab them. So this is a digital version of the physical book of faces.
Facebook was so much more like, I want to say innocent back in the day, it was just, and you're right. Yeah, it did start with like, I think Ivy League schools. And then it went down to, gosh, I was a part of it was back when it was the Pac-10, University of Arizona. I was a freshman back in, gosh, I think it was like 2004. Yeah. And it was still known as the Facebook. And yeah, I mean, my goodness, social media changed our lives, didn't it?
It did. For better or for worse, I don't know. We will get into it while we're streaming on all of them, lest they kick us off, get banned for life.
How fun.
But I don't know. You want to get started with the real deal here?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's do it. So, hi, I'm Bette Hochberger, CPA, CGMA, and today we have the pleasure of having Chris Wade from Bitwave. Little bit of background on Chris. So he has an MBA, all right, smart guy here. He studied at the Holt International School of Business, right? Got his MBA in 2017 and then dove into the world of crypto. All right, so you're not like an OG crypto person, huh? 2017 is still kind of early, but it's not like
right.
Super early.
It seems like there's several tiers of people that get into crypto, like people fairly recent, and then there's people that maybe a handful of years. I've been in the industry since 2017, 2016, and then there's people that have been in a lot longer than I have.
Yeah, those are like the hardcore originals.
Right. And it's pretty amazing when you meet one of those hardcore originals out there, and you think about the price of Bitcoin, what it was back in, gosh, like 2009. And we all have those stories in terms of how we entered the market. And I'd love to hear how you got into crypto, Bette. And you don't need too many accounting professionals that service the market. And
because it sucks. Like as an accountant, it sucks.
challenging. It's challenging for sure. And that's the reason why Bitwave's around is we try and uncomplicate that process of being able to reconcile your transactions. And it's one of my favorite things about the job, working with accounting professionals such as yourself.
Yeah. No, not many people say their favorite thing is working with accountants. So that's kind of
good. There's so many different types of accounting firms out there.
Yeah, it's true.
It's an international situation that's happening right now, with
that's also true.
Companies and accountants trying to account for digital assets in Europe with IFRS standards, here in the US with GAAP. And yeah, it's great to be able to work for a company, Bitwave, where we have technology that can help automate that process.
For sure. I mean, how did I get into crypto? It was kind of like a little bit of a perfect storm, right? Which is a little bit obnoxious to say when you live in Florida and we just got hit with a hurricane. But I had a couple clients here and there who were doing crypto stuff for a number of years. And one of the verticals that we work in is we work with tech companies. So when Mayor Suarez of Miami said he wanted to make Miami the crypto capital of the world, I was like, well, we're already doing like a little bit of crypto work. Let's go all in. So we now, I don't even know how many crypto companies we're working with these days. I would have to go pull up the roster, but even that's changing in like a very brief amount of time. The number of companies using crypto and then how they're using crypto is changing. But
Right.
that's really how we got into it. Like, we do have some people who are just crypto investors, but I prefer more to work on the kind of like tech startup side of Web3 and the people who are building things in Web3. And it just so happens that they use crypto, and it just so happens that it makes my life really complicated as a result, just dealing with the accounting for it. But that's kind of how we got here, right? And I'm never like, no, I'm not going to solve this problem or figure this out for my clients. So that's why we are here and doing what we do.
Yep. So many different case uses. We've been seeing a trend of, and this has been going on for a little bit of time, but during these bear cycles, you kind of pick up on trends associated with what's sustainable.
Yeah.
And we're working with a lot of GameFi companies right now. There's still, a lot of money going into that space. You have the entertainment industry getting involved. I'm currently calling in from Laguna Beach, Orange County, California, just down here visiting some family. But I live up in Los Angeles, and when I'm out there networking, going to these Web3, association events, conferences. It's great to be able to walk the floor and you see the level of technology with these modern Web3 game companies.
Yeah,
and one
it's really cool.
is called Shrapnel, and they've incorporated blockchain technology. I think that they're in the process of launching their own token, and they hired like Emmy-winning game developers to build out their video game.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's very cool.
These developers came from like Halo. I want to say Westworld. That's the game. I think it might have been developed after the Netflix series Westworld, or maybe it was HBO.
HBO, yeah, that was a cool show too.
Right. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's I watched a few episodes of that one, but nonetheless, yeah, GameFi is just one of those areas where we're picking up on a lot of activity. Also VCs. One of our clients over here recently was allocated 7 figures worth of XRP from Ripple.
Wow.
And they're developing a hedge fund. And this is where it gets fun and complicated, because
Yes.
of course, they're working with legal in terms of the corporate structure. And of course, it's like they have an offshore subsidiary, onshore in the US. I think the sun is kind of like,
yeah, you're glowing.
let me see if I can sit somewhere a little bit better where it's better lighting.
There you go. That's better. Yeah.
One of the things about working from home. There we go. Much better. Sorry about that.
No worries. I'd say we fix it in post, but I don't even know how to fix that in post.
Fun. But yeah, I'm sure you see the same thing, with companies incorporating, blockchain technology, so many different case uses.
Yeah.
And payments is a big trend right now too. I couldn't help,
yeah, especially international, right?
Yep.
Because wires suck and they're expensive, and I don't know if you ever tried to use Western Union. I gave up on that years ago. This is a nightmare.
I haven't tried it, but I was working with there's been a lot of positive things happening in life right now. Recently engaged, bought my first house.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Just closed escrow um on Monday this week, and dealing with wire transfers. It's a nightmare. All the due diligence you have to do beforehand, double checking, the account number, the routing number, getting approval from the escrow company, getting approval from the bank, this and that. And with blockchain, yes, you do want to make sure that you do your due diligence as well, but the fees can be a lot less,
Could be, yeah. And real estate transactions, I mean, that's the example that everybody loves to give on how can you use blockchain to to make that process smoother, make it go better, right? There's so many steps where it's like, well, if you use blockchain, you could cut out a lot of potentially like insurance issues, right? Title insurance and
right. Yep.
stamp taxes, like all these things where it's like, well, do we need to have this if we can just record it in a ledger that is verified and everyone in the whole world can see it and read it and knows exactly what happened? That I think is probably one of the it'll probably be one of the first areas. Well, I guess it depends on how many people you're trying to cut out of the loop there, as far as like hands out into your transaction in real estate. But it seems like an area where there's a lot of people putting a lot of effort into streamlining and using Web3 to make that better.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It seems like every week right now, we're talking to another company that is incorporating Web3 based AR and AP processes. And the technology out there to enable that type of accounting and process is being developed. And with Bitwave, it's pretty remarkable where we actually have an integration to like QuickBooks and Xero. So you can create your invoice or bill within the general ledger. You don't want to change your process. But if our customer wants to pay in crypto, or maybe they're working with like a vendor that, because of SVB going down, there's, a lot of banks out there having some issues, and that's affecting a lot of companies. Maybe they need to send payments in crypto because their vendor just doesn't have a bank account. So with us, we've been able
unbanked. That's the thing, unbanked people. Yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah, it's a way to provide some sustainability. It can be complex because it depends on the cryptocurrency that you want to make it in. You got to account for Forex, because the exchange rate is always changing. But nonetheless, it's happening, and I think change comes slow. But again, this is just another one of those areas through the bear market where we're seeing that sustainability.
Yeah, and I think what's kind of nice, like not that anybody likes, a market when it turns down, but you're seeing it shake out a lot of the nonsense, right? Because there was a lot of nonsense going on. Like there was a lot of fraud, there's a lot of not really serious things. And then when the market kind of has that like downward force on the prices and the value and all of that, it's really like it shakes out a lot of that stuff and that behavior because it's not worthwhile now, right? When things are on the rise, scams all day long because you're going to take something from someone and the value is going to be even more. But when it's down, they have to find something more lucrative to scam people with. But that's where you're also seeing a lot of innovation and like you're saying, like the sustainability and real utility. I'm still waiting for NFTs to really take off in utility because they should. It makes so much sense. Like the silly, like, you want to put monkeys and boats and birds and things and pictures. Okay, fine. But there's so much utility behind just the technology that, I can have something that, gives access or gives some kind of record of something important. that's really useful, to have that on a blockchain and there forever. Like, don't get me wrong, I would love to go to a yacht party
Right.
because I bought the right picture, right? I bought the right JPEG. But there's so many other applications out there for NFTs that's one of the things that I look forward to that really being utilized as, commonplace technology.
100%. It's great to have electronic documentation. Like for recent example with the recent escrow close. And I'm saving a lot of these electronic documents just on my computer, in my email. Is there a more secure way of doing so? And I'm working with escrow company, working with a law firm, this and that, my real estate agent. And it would be great to just have an electronic copy on the blockchain that kind of verifies the transfer of documents from, like party A to party B.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are recognizing that, and I love the example of issuing like certifications.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Bitwave, what we're doing is that we're really trying to enable our partners and clients to learn how to account for digital assets. We don't do any back office bookkeeping. We refer that out to companies like yourself, Bette, to accounting professionals, to CPAs. But like, you won't believe it. Like, there's so many people out there that want to get in the space, but they just don't know how to utilize the technology or really understand the basics associated with it. So we have a certification program, completely free, you earn CPE credit. But at the end of the course, we issue a certification on the blockchain. So it's an
That's
actual
great. That's fantastic. Yeah. That's great utility. But you guys are probably the first like place I've heard of, at least in my arena, that's doing that. But when I first learned about NFTs, I'm like, oh my God, all of our continuing education should just be, did you attend the class? Here's your NFT, right? Here's your proof. Not here's a PDF. Go save it somewhere, go upload it to the state, CPA society, do whatever. Just give me the NFT and then I can throw it in my wallet. And if somebody has questions about how much continuing education I have, like, here's the public address of that wallet and you can see all my NFTs of all the classes I went to.
Exactly. It's similar to all the certifications listed on my LinkedIn page. And I do my best to make my LinkedIn page like, look professional. And I've taken some courses and I'll hyperlink it to the actual credential page to try and like show like, heck, I actually took this. But if it was actually stored on the blockchain, like, I think that would be another way to actually verify. And in this digital age, like, we all have to be mindful of who we're working with. Unfortunately, there's fraud everywhere. It could be on so many different types of applications out there. So, a lot of benefits with the technology, but, I also love the artwork too. I went to there's a hotel in Hollywood called the Dream Hotel, and down in the lobby they had a NFT art gallery, and it's all really amazing, like digital artwork. With had different graphics and lighting, very modern. It was quite the show. And this was a very nice, hip hotel. And, I'm thinking about what type of artwork do I want to put on my walls? And they have these digital canvases now where you can upload artwork. And, I'm always wearing blue light glasses. So, I mean, I want to be mindful of that. I kind of like traditional artwork too. But again, this is how blockchain technology is incorporating itself in so many different aspects, from an artistic perspective, from a finance perspective, from maybe even a regulatory perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely. So we have this big event here in Miami, Art Basel, and you definitely see that intersection of the technology and the art world come together with that event. Like every year, I feel like it's more and more with NFTs and things like that. And it's even like the Bitcoin conference that was in Miami, which is going to be moving away from Miami, unfortunately for us, but there's a whole section of art. And it's like, it's in some ways, it's kind of funny. It's like, why do you take this thing that seems so like not artistic, right? The blockchain doesn't seem like there should be art, and yet all this art has developed around it. So it is a cool kind of crossroads of those two fields, the art and the tech.
Right. Yeah. One of my favorite NFT artists, very well known, Beeple. And I'm so impressed, like how often and how quickly he can create artwork. And it seems like he creates another NFT that really captures a certain type of maybe movement that is happening culturally or politically, or maybe it has to deal with some type of current event out there. And it's just another way of looking at what is art, similar to like how Andy Warhol created a soup can. Like,
yeah,
you think that's so profound and so weird, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it kind of, it's creativity, just another way of looking at the world too. And I think the NFT movement is embracing that type of mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where's the Art Basel moving to? I didn't realize that.
No, Art Basel is not moving. That the Bitcoin conference is moving.
Oh, the Bitcoin conference. Okay, right.
Yeah,
yep.
I think Tennessee. Am I right? I don't remember. I want to say it's maybe Tennessee, like Nashville-ish, something like that. I might be wrong. I might be remembering something else, but I think that's where they're heading out to.
There's so many different like Web3 hubs. Austin is one of them. Miami.
Yeah.
And September is going to be a big month. I'm flying out to New York for mainnet. And then there's also permissionless in Austin. And, I think Los Angeles has a Web3 community too. I think it might be more prevalent in Miami. But internationally too, there's we're working with Near. Near is a layer 1 blockchain, and they're hosting a conference in Portugal.
I was gonna say Portugal is huge. I feel like Portugal and Dubai is where all the international, and actually Brazil is getting to be pretty big as well in that realm. So it's a different world for sure. We've always had some international people. I've never had quite the spread of international clients that we currently have right now. And it's a lot is coming from that Dubai and the Portugal aspect of it. South Florida, we get a lot of South America because we're kind of the gateway, right, to Latin America and whatnot. But it's these other areas like Europe and Europe that's not England. We would quite frequently end up with tech companies that needed a U.S. presence, and they would find our way to us to help them with the U.S. piece of it. But now it's like Portugal and more in the Middle East and stuff. It's pretty exciting. It's making the world a lot smaller. That's for sure.
Yeah. We have a call with Atari later today, actually.
Atari, like the video game Atari?
They're coming back. They've actually just launched an NFT project. I think they dropped it on Coinbase NFT. From my understanding, Coinbase has an NFT platform. Very exciting stuff. And they have a subsidiary in Europe as well as in the US. And you have to have two separate sets of books. Typically, that's what I see. I'm not an accountant, but when I'm talking to accounting professionals, you have to be able to have separate general ledgers, which means you have to have separate Bitwave accounts or sub ledgers in a way, and it makes it quite interesting, But we're up for the 100%. We love it.
So since we are talking about a little bit about accounting, right? So tell us a bit about Bitwave. What makes Bitwave different or better than some of the other players who are out there?
Right. Yep. So Bitwave, we are a enterprise level digital asset accounting and tax software solution. Many of our partners and our clients will consider us a subledger. So we sit in between the blockchain and the general ledger. Something unique to Bitwave, we actually have preferred partnerships that have been vetted and approved by QuickBooks, Xero, NetSuite, and Sage. I think we're the only one that has partners across all of those general ledger software systems. Companies like the fact that we've been around a little bit longer than some other platforms. I think our co-founder started up the company in 2017 or early 2018. I think that's when we secured our first client. And with the technology itself, it takes time to build out integrations to various types of blockchains. So when you're utilizing Bitwave, what I've heard is that you can see the level of development. Like one of the reasons why we've been able to secure Magic Eden, and that's a NFT marketplace similar to OpenSea on the Solana blockchain, really gets back to being able to capture high volume transactions, micro transactions. We have with that Magic Eden, we had to sync over, I think, 100 million plus historical transactions. So we put processes in place that you just don't see with other platforms, such as rolling up transactions.
Wow, that's a big number.
Yeah, it's a lot of activity, a lot of like secondary royalty sales being, a lot of fees being earned and generated through that platform. So being able to capture roll-ups, and then also being able to account for AR and AP processes. We have a lot of clients involved in DeFi activity. Clients that are utilizing their Bitcoin as collateral, and they don't want to sell it, so they'll take it, borrow against it, and maybe get some liquidity that way. But yeah, probably, being able to support enterprise is probably our market differentiation. Working with Nike, it's a proven platform. We've helped clients pass audits conducted by like PwC. That's one of our success stories. We helped OpenSea pass an audit by PwC, and also
That's amazing.
the software.
That's amazing.
International perspective. But yeah, it's been quite the experience. Also, our support. We love supporting accounting firms. Like,
yay!
We
need help. We need help with this stuff. It's hard. It's not. It's definitely not easy. Like QuickBooks makes accounting look easy for small businesses, right? And most of the time, it's wrong anyway. Like it gives people a false sense of like, I know what I'm doing. I can do this. And then the accounting professionals, we really learn that software. But this stuff is so new and it changes so quickly that we do need a lot of support from the software side of like, just how do we make this work? Like we might know ultimately what it needs to look like, but how do we get from like A to Z with the transactions and get them to the right place and do it the right way? Because there's a lot of, you need to do things the right way when you're dealing with accounting and with taxes. No one wants to pay taxes on things they don't need to pay taxes on, that's for sure.
100%. Like you have to master the software you're using to close out your clients' books. You expect it, like if you're hiring an accountant, them to know the general ledger that your clients are utilizing. The same mindset should be applied with the sub ledger. So it's through our training, through our certification course, with being able to have these type of conversations where we're going through your client's transactions with you, showing you how to, apply the appropriate debit and credit and running the gain loss report. And once you master the software, that's where you can add the most amount of value. Like we're seeing clients that has two sets of books, one for GAAP, so they're running like FIFO plus impairment, and then they have a second set of books where it's just for tax, where it's like, all right, maybe we shouldn't run FIFO, but maybe let's run, it's known as specific identification, HIFO. Okay. I want the highest cumulative cost basis first, and that's actually going to minimize my reportable gain as well. So you can be strategic with us. We just work based upon our clients and their accountants' requests, and we have the software to enable it.
That's awesome. All right, Chris, well, I don't want to keep you here all day. So my final interview question, do you have any unusual hobbies or special, funny talent, anything like that you can share with us?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, growing up in Southern California by the coast, picked up the art and craft and sport of sailing. And basically, the way that I learned, I was just thrown on a boat. I was hanging out at a sailing club, and they're like, "Yeah, you want to go sailing, Chris?" I'm like, "Sure." This is growth mindset. And they're like, "All right, well, you need to be at the dock tomorrow. Bring a bottle of rum. And by the way, we're not just going to teach you, but it's going to be a race. You're actually going to be in a race. You're going to compete." So because of that, I have the unique ability of knowing how to sail with one hand, because in the other, you always have a cup of rum.
Bottle of rum. Oh my God, you're like a pirate.
Right. Yeah, I'm afraid so. I'm afraid so. So it's fun. It's a Corinthian sport too. It's great. Some of my favorite people are sailors, and it's always a good day if you're on a boat on the
Yes.
water. That's my philosophy.
That is true. That's awesome. Yeah, sailing is not like one of those things I've ever really done, like maybe once or twice on somebody's boat, but it always looks very exciting. It's a little bit scary also.
Yeah, brief moments of intensity. I mean, there's smooth sailing, but next thing you know, if the wind picks up, or if you need to jibe or tack, steer the boat in a different direction, it can be quite hairy, but nonetheless, there's a lot of fun analogies. Like you can operate, a business, like how you sail a boat. You need to know like where you're heading, what's your direction, teamwork, being a leader, doing due diligence. So it's fun. And yeah, similar to golf, there's somewhat of a community, maybe a yacht club or country club here and there. Yep.
Well, I think you know what to write a book about, that allegory between sailing and business. Sounds
Right.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. And it's one of these sports that can really bring the world closer together. There's sailors from all over the world. And I helped a yacht club in Newport Beach create a sailing documentary. For some reason, I got involved with the media committee, and we worked with the same videographers for the America's Cup, which is the most prestigious sailing event in the world. But we had teams from like New Zealand, Australia, from the UK, throughout the United
awesome.
Out there. And yeah, when you get to travel, it's always fun to kind of have a home base, and you get to have the same conversations about sailing.
That's awesome. All right, Chris. Well, thank you so much. If anybody needs help in the Web3 space, accounting, tax, we're going to be checking out Bitwave to hopefully solve a lot of those accounting headaches, and there are many. There are many. All right, Chris, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds good. Talk to you soon. Bye.